Right, so let's see what was the last commit I made on the web dev. Um, yeah, okay, it was finished half of forms. Okay, I was on forms, so we'll get back to forms. Mm, book. Hmm. Hmm. Type password. Type image. Put type. Submit. Type reset. Value start over. Okay. If I had designed this piece of page, right? Let me just take a look. Hmm. List items, input type text, name, first name. Okay. Hmm. Okay, then I think I moved on to the uh, checkboxes, right? Yeah, input type radio, and then I had input type checkbox, and we provided a flag checked that by default this is checked. Okay. Then deflect standard means type submit, value pump my shoes, input type submit. Yeah. Okay, great. And this worked. Great, nice. Okay. So now I had to move on. Contest.php, the first thing to is, yeah, okay. Hmm. Radio and checkboxes. Right. Menus, okay. Now I had menus, drop down menus. Another way to provide a list of choices is to put them in a drop down menu or scrolling menu. Menus tend to be more compact, than groups of buttons and checkboxes. Okay, so menu control select. Option with a menu. A logical grouping of options within a menu. Okay. So we had this. You add both drop down and scrolling menus to a form with the select element. Whether the menu pulls down or scrolls is the result of how you specify its size and whether you allow more than one option to be selected. Okay. Then the select element displays as a drop down menu, also called a pull down menu by default when no size is specified, or if the size attribute is set to 1. In pull down menus, only one item may be selected. Here's an example. Okay. And you can see that the select element is just a container for the number of option element. The content of the chosen option element is what gets passed to the web application when the form is selected. If for some reason you want to send a different value than what appears in the, use the value attribute. For example, yeah, okay, got it. Hmm. For others, the content between the option tags will be scrolling menus. To make the menu display the scrolling list, select specify Simply specify the number of lines you'd like to be visible when using the size attribute. This example menu has the same options as the previous one, except it has been set to display the scrolling list that is 6 lines top. Okay, there we go. Option selected already. Okay, and this selected attribute. Okay, select name. Multiple are. Okay. You may notice a few new attributes tucked in there. The multiple attribute allows users to make more than one selection. Scrolling list. Note that the pull down menus do not allow multiple selections. When the browser detects the multiple attributes, it displays a small scrolling menu automatically by default. Okay. Use the selected attribute in an option to make it the default value for the menu control. Selected options are highlighted when the form loads. The selected attributes can be used with pull down menus as well. Grouping menu options. Okay, note. The label attribute in the option element is not the same as the label. Option is the label. I don't see a label in the options. Label attribute is to improve accessibility, discussed later in the chapter. Right. You can use the opt group element to create conceptual group of options. The required label attribute in the opt group element provides a heading for the group. Shows you how the options of group are rendered. Okay. Okay, nice. That's great. Adding a menu. The only other control that needs to be added to the contest entry form is a pull down menu for selecting a shoe size. Okay. More options here. Shoe size 5 to 13. Okay. So I can just copy paste that, right? And go 9.3. And we will add the sizes here, right? Sizes. Okay, how do I want it to look? Sizes. Okay, there we go. Select copy sizes, everything. Then we add the paragraph. Oh no. Okay. Select. Then we give it a name. Name equals size. Then we give it a size equals 1 for default. And we provide in the option file and I can provide a default. Okay, 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 11 12 13. And we close select and then we have closed the paragraph, right? Okay, this should come here. Save the document and check it in a browser. You can submit the form too. Be sure that it's working. We'll do first working with form. We'll add markup that makes it more accessible for assistive devices. Okay, file selection control. Right. Let's see this. Permissions. Reset. Okay, great. Okay, file selection control. Then we have file selection control. Web forms can collect more than just data. They can also be used to transmit external documents from a user's hard drive. For example, a printing company could use a web form to upload artwork for a business card order. A magazine could use a form on their site to collect digital photos for a photo contest. The file selection controls makes it like type multipart encryption type. Okay. Numerical input. Color selector, progress bar, meter output, labels. Okay, I'm almost there. Let me just okay, so the file selection control makes it possible for users to select a document from the hard drive to be submitted with the form data. It is added to the form using our old friend, the input element, with its type set to file. The markup sample here shows a file selection control used for photo submissions. Okay, so send a photo to be used as your online icon. Optional input type file. Name photo size 28 label and form. Okay. Add a break. The file upload widget varies by browser and operating system. It may be a text field with a button to press the hard drive. Okay. Or it might just be a button, which is how Chrome displays its bottom. It is important to note that when a form contains a file selection input element, you must specify the encoding type of the form as multipart/form data and use post method. Okay. The size attribute in this example sets a character width of the text field, although it could also be controlled by the displays 1. Okay. So input type file. Okay. Hidden control. There may be times when you need to send information to the form processing application that does not come from the user. In these instances, you can use a hidden form control that sends data when the form is submitted but is not visible when the form is displayed in a browser. Nice. Hidden controls are added using the input element with the type set to hidden. Its sole purpose is to pass a name value pair to the server when the form is submitted. Name success link value. That's okay. Its sole purpose is to pass name value pair to the server when the form is submitted. In this example, a hidden form element is used to provide the location. Okay, nice. It is possible for users to access and manipulate hidden form controls. If you should become a professional web developer, you will learn to program defensively for this sort of thing. Okay. I worked with the forms that have had hidden of dozen controls in the form element before getting to the parts that the user actually fills out. This is the kind of this is the kind of information you get from the application programmer, system administrator, or whoever is helping you get your forms processed. If you're using a canned script, be sure to check the accompanying instructions to see if any hidden form variables are required. Date and time controls HTML5. Okay, so many. If you've ever booked a hotel or flight online, you've no doubt used a little calendar widget for choosing the date. Chances are that little calendar was created using JavaScript. HTML5 introduced 6 new input types that make date and time selection widgets part of the browser's standard built-in display capabilities. Just as they can display checkboxes, pop-up menus, and other widgets today. The date and time pickers are implemented only a few browsers, such as Opera, but on non-supporting browsers, the date and time displays as per perfectly usable text entry field instead. Okay. Date, time, date, time, date, time, local input, month. Okay, you can only select month. Huh. December. Okay, week. Alright. The new date, and time related input types are as follows. Input type equals date, name, value equals this. Creates a date input type control such as pop-up calendar for specifying a date, year, month, day. The initial value must be provided in ISO. Okay. Time. Date, time. Okay, I think we have that. Yeah, time zone. Yes, we saw time element in chapter 5. Yeah, exactly like that. Date, time, local. I won't stress over these. Okay, numerical inputs. Number, range. The number and range inputs allows. Where is allows? The number and range input types collect numerical data. For the number input, the browser may supply a spinner widget for selecting a specific numerical value. A text input may display in user agents that don't support the input value. The number and range input types collect numerical data. For the number input, the browser may supply a spinner widget for selecting a specific numerical value. A text input may display in user agents that don't support the input type. Okay, the range input is typically displayed as a slider. Specified range. Okay, so label number of guests, input type number, min 1, max 6. Okay, in the step. Okay, both the number and range input accepts the min max attributes for specifying the minimum and maximum values allowed for the input. Again, the browser could check that the user input complies with the constraint. Okay. Both min and max are optional, and you can also set one without the other. The step attribute the step attribute allows developers to specify the acceptable increments. The step attribute allows developers to specify the acceptable increments for the numerical input. The default is 1. A value of 0.5 would permit values 1. Okay. You can also set the step attribute to explicitly accept any value increment. Okay. In browsers that don't support these new input type field, displays a standard text input field instead, which is a fine fallback. Color selector. There's a color picker. The intent of the color control type is to create a pop-up color picker for the visually. The intent of the color control type is to create a pop-up color picker for visually selecting a color value similar to those used in operating systems or image editing programs. Values are provided in hexadecimal RGB values. Okay. Shows the color picker widget. Now non-supporting browsers display the default text input still. That wraps up the form control roundup. Learning how to insert form controls is one part of the form's production process, but any web developer worth her salt will take the time to make sure the form is as accessible as possible. Fortunately, there are a few things we can do in markup to describe the form's structure. Okay, a few more forms elements. For the sake of completeness, let's look at the remaining form elements that are new in HTML5. As of this writing, they are poorly supported and are somewhat esoteric anyway. So you may wait a while to add these to your HTML toolbox. We've already covered the data list element for providing suggested values for text input. HTML5 also introduced the following element. Okay, progress. Nice. The progress element gives user feedback on the state of an ongoing process, such as a file download. It can have a specific end value provided with the max attribute or just indicate that something is happening, such as waiting for a server to respond. Percent download, progress max 100, name fave same, meter. Meter is similar to progress, but it always represents a measurement within a known range of values, also known as a gauge. It has a number of attributes. Min, max indicate the highest and lowest values for a range. Low and high could be used to trigger warnings at undesirable levels, and optimum specifies a preferred value. The values would most likely be updated with JavaScript dynamically during the process output. Okay. Simply put, the output element provides a way to indicate the result of calculation by a script or program, associate it with inputs that affected the calculation. Okay. The key pair generator. The keygen element represents our control of making a key pair used to ensure privacy. The form is submitted. The private key is stored locally and the public key is packaged and sent to the server. Don't worry, I'm a little foggy on what this all means too. You can read the public key cryptography and explain it to me when you figure it out. Nice. Okay. Form accessibility features. It is essential to consider how users without the benefit of visual browsers will be able to understand and navigate through your web forms. The label field set, and legend form elements improve accessibility by making the semantic connections between the components of a form clear. Okay. The resulting markup is not only more semantically rich, but there are also more elements available to act as hooks for style sheets rules. Okay. Labels. Although we may see the label address right next to a text field for entering an address in a visual browser, in the source, the label and field input may be separated. Okay. The label element associates descriptive text with its respective form field. This provides important context for users with speech-based browsers. Each the label element associates descriptive text with its respective form field. This provides important context for users with speech-based browsers. Each label element is associated with exactly one form control. Each label element is associated with exactly one form control. Okay. There are two ways to use it. One method is called implicit association. Nests the control and its description within the label. In the following examples, labels are assigned to individual checkboxes and their related descriptions. This is the way to label radio buttons and checkboxes. You can't assign a label to the entire group. Okay. The other the other method, called explicit association, matches the label with the control's ID reference. The for attribute says which control the label is for. Okay. This approach is useful when the control is not directly next to its undescriptive text in the source. It also offers potential advantage of keeping the label and the control as two distinct elements, which may come in handy when aligning with style sheets. Right. Okay. Warning. iOS devices as of this writing do not make implicit labels clickable. So that behavior needs to be created with JavaScript. I know we haven't done any JavaScript yet, but if you are wondering, the fix looks like this: document.get element by tag name, set attributes on click. Okay, tip. To keep form related IDs distinct from other IDs on the page, consider prefacing them with the form. Alright, nice, that's great. Another technique for keeping forms organized is to give them form element and ID name and include it as a prefix in the IDs of the control it contains. Okay. Form ID login form. Alright, nice. Yes, sir. That's great. Another advantage to using labels is that users can click or tap anywhere on them to select the form element. Users with touch devices will appreciate the larger tap target. That's great. So we can click the whole form. Okay. Then we move on to field set and legend. The field set element field set and legend. The field set element indicates a logical group of form controls. Field set and legend. How much time? 30 minutes. That's enough for today, I think. Okay, so I'll continue with field sets. next time.